Hi guys, it's Janine. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to give you some tips on how to prevent gaining the weight back that you lost while you were taking semaglutide like Ozempic or medications like Monjauro, any type of weight loss peptides, GLP-1 agonist medications. This is the video for you. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to keep that weight off. So just to give you a little bit of background, I am a weight loss coach. I'm a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. I work with clients, primarily women, to lose weight and keep it off for good. I also have clients that are currently on some of these medications, and I have clients transitioning off of these medications, and I'm going to give you some of the tips that I have used with them that are helping, and hopefully it will be helpful for you guys. First things first, it's important to understand what the medications did for you while you were taking them. And I'm sure that, for those of you who are currently on the medication or have come off of it, this will make sense to you. But what semaglutide will do is actually, it's going to stimulate the GLP-1 hormone that's actually lets your brain know that you no longer need to eat. So it kind of quiets that chatter down around food, and you really don't even think about food while you're on the medication. That's one of the things. The other thing that these medications do is they slow down gastric emptying, which is going to keep you fuller longer. Those two things combined really just help you to eat less and help you to be in a calorie deficit. The problem is, once you stop these medications, those things go away. And all of that chatter comes back, and all of the struggles that you once had before, which is the reason you put the weight on, will come back. So if you aren't armed with some tools to deal with those things, it's going to be very common to put the weight back on, which we've seen a lot of chatter about in the media in terms of weight regain. So the purpose of this video is to help you avoid that. So let's go ahead and get into some of my tips. Okay, let's first talk about slowing down gastric emptying, which is one of the effects of those medications. Once you are off the medication, you can still slow down gastric emptying by eating a diet that is high in fiber. You can also supplement with fiber and be really strategic with when you consume that fiber, and it's going to help give you that same sensation. This is the product that I recommend to my clients. It's real simple, real inexpensive. You can get it on Amazon. I will link it down below. I also use this as well, by the way, and I'm not coming off of Ozempic or any type of medication, but it does help with appetite control. So if you just dissolve a teaspoon of this in a small amount of water, actually you don't dissolve it, you just put a teaspoon in a small amount of water and you drink it about 30 minutes before meals, it's going to give you that sensation of fullness much quicker, and it's going to slow down the gastric emptying of your meal and keep you fuller longer. So this is an excellent supplement. But just in general, you're going to want to make sure you are eating a diet that's high in fiber, like 35 to 40 grams of fiber per day. Now, as I stated before, those medications for weight loss stimulate the GLP-1 hormone that quiets down that food chatter, tells you when to stop eating. Now that you're not on that medication, that food chatter is going to come back. So there are ways to naturally stimulate GLP-1. You'll want to consume GLP-1 inducing foods, which consist of things that are high in fat and high in protein. So if you're wanting to steer towards a diet that's more high in healthy fats and protein, that's going to leave not a lot of calories left for carbohydrates. So I actually recommend those coming off of these types of medications to follow a low carb diet initially, especially in the first few months, and then you can slowly transition carbohydrates or higher carbohydrates back into your diet. There's nothing wrong with carbs, but when you're coming off of these medications, carbohydrates are just going to complicate the issue, make it a little more difficult than it already is in terms of controlling cravings, controlling hunger, etc. Now, if you do experience cravings, I recommend a supplement that's gotten a lot of new clout in the media lately, and it's something that I personally take as well, and it is called Berberine. Now, Berberine, a lot of people are saying it's like nature's Ozempic and it's like a substitute for Ozempic. It really is not. I can tell you, as someone who is taking it, I take it for craving control. It does help balance your blood sugars. It helps you, minimize those cravings that you tend to have when you do eat carbohydrates or something sweet that's making you want more. This is going to balance that out. This is the one that I'm taking currently. It is from Metagenics. When it comes to Berberine, you want to take it from a reputable company, one that's third-party tested so that you know what you're getting. I like the brand Thorne, and I also like this brand for those same reasons. You can get them both on Amazon, and I will link them down below. I am currently I take 500 milligrams twice a day before meals, but this is going to help you balance your blood sugars, help with craving control. It's not a miracle supplement. It's not going to make you forget about food. It's not as effective as those, weight loss peptides that you're coming off of from semaglutide. It's not. And so if people tell you that it is, they're lying to you or they're overhyping this, but it is a helpful tool. And I personally have been using it to control cravings, and it has been helping for me. So it is definitely something that I recommend to my clients coming off of semaglutide as well. Now, I know that these types of supplements often get a bad rap, but I also recommend, if you are not sensitive to fat burners, you might want to incorporate a fat burner, especially initially. This is just going to help control your appetite, give you energy. From what I've heard in working with clients that are coming off of this medication, about 4 to 6 weeks after their last shot, their appetite comes back with a vengeance, like out of control hunger. And it's going to be really important that you have lots of tools on board to help you control that, because does not take a lot of time of overeating to put on a significant amount of weight in a short period of time. And I want you to avoid being on that cycle where you come off of the medication, you gain a bunch of weight back, then you go back on the medication, lose it, etc. That is not a healthy cycle for your body as well. It's also not a very, cheap practice, because these medications are very expensive. So if you arm yourself with these tools and you know what to expect, then you have a better chance of preventing some of this regain. Now, that's it in terms of supplements and food suggestions, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you are tracking your intake, that you have a set of macronutrients that you are following, that you are staying within, so that you know what boundaries you need to stay within. Remember, if you are no longer on the medications, you are thinking about food now. You are hungry now. Those calories quickly add up, and it may not feel like you're eating that much, but they add up, and the weight will come back if you are not tracking them, if you don't have caloric boundaries. So I highly recommend you figure out what your macros are. I actually recommend, when you're first coming off the medication, that you still stay in a caloric deficit for weight loss, even if you've hit your goal weight. Start with a calorie deficit set of macros and slowly increase that up until your weight stabilizes and you can determine what your maintenance macros are. If you are confused and you don't know how to go about this, I would recommend working with a coach. I am a macro coach. I can help you if you are looking for some guidance in terms of getting these sets of macros or any type of coaching along the way. You can check out my information down in the description. I'd be happy to help you out. But regardless, you need to have some idea of how much you should be eating to maintain the weight that you're currently at, or else the weight will come back. Again, I also recommend that initially you go on a low carb macronutrient profile rather than a balanced, which balanced macros are what I recommend, traditionally for my clients. A balance of carbs, fats, and protein. But when you're coming off of these medications, it's actually better to keep carbohydrates a little low initially until you get readjusted to how how it feels to feel hungry again, because fats and protein are going to stimulate the GLP-1 and somewhat simulate the effects of the medication in a really small way. So hopefully that helps you. Again, I'm excited that you were able to, lose the weight. I think that these medications are great if used correctly and used, to lose the weight. But the point is, you want to keep it off. You want to keep it off. And I would hate to see people going off and on. It really is not good for your body to gain and lose a bunch of weight constantly. You're going to wreak havoc on your metabolism, your hormones. You just don't want to do that. So ultimately the goal is get on the medication, let it be a tool to help you lose the weight, learn along the way while you're on the medication so that you can keep the weight off, and then implement some tools and know that your appetite is going to come back in that 4 to 6 week range and be ready for it. And then you can keep the weight off and you can live a long, healthy life. Thank you so much for tuning in today's video. If you find it useful, please comment below, give it a like, give me a subscribe. I post lots of different videos on nutrition and weight loss and menopause, if that's on the horizon for you. I am currently going through menopause myself as a 47-year-old woman, so I post a lot about that as well. So thank you so much for tuning in, you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video.